trail riding? Let's go! Off-road route taming. How to read a trail when you only have one contact patch. If you have ever rolled into a trail full of roots and thought this looks easy, your wheel likely reminded you a few seconds later that confidence and traction are two completely different things. That is the funny thing about riding an electric unicycle. A mountain bike gets two chances to make a mistake. We get one. One tire, one contact patch, one decision. Every route is essentially asking, how lucky do you feel today? By the end of this, you will know exactly how I read a trail before my tire ever touches the dirt, why some routes feel harmless while others are trying to collect insurance money, and the simple habit that changed the way I ride technical terrain. There's one mistake almost everyone makes, and it has nothing to do with balance. The biggest problem is that people stare at the route. The solution is learning to read the entire trail instead of the obstacle. The moment the trail turns into a maze of routes, your eyes should stop looking for the biggest one and start looking for the cleanest path through all of them. That sounds simple, but your brain often starts acting like it found a shark in a swimming pool. Everything becomes dramatic. Your knees get stiff, your arms tense up, and your feet lock into the pedals. Now, the wheel has to do all the work while your body turns into a frozen lawn ornament. That never ends well. Routes rarely cause the crash by themselves, the rider usually does. Many riders roll into the trail already expecting to lose control. The wheel can feel that. If it had feelings, mine would probably file a complaint every weekend. Because your body tension transfers directly into the pedals, every little movement you make becomes a huge input to the wheel. Instead of flowing over the terrain, you end up arguing with it. Speed is a delicate balance. People either crawl toward the obstacle, letting every root grab the tire, or they attack it like they are trying to qualify for a motocross championship, giving themselves no time to react if the trail changes. There is a Goldilocks pace where the wheel keeps rolling smoothly while you still have enough time to make decisions. Once you find that pace, everything starts making sense. Also realize that not every route deserves your attention. Some are tiny, some are smooth, and some are already packed into the dirt. I only pay attention to the ones sticking several inches above the ground with sharp, aggressive edges. Everything else just becomes part of the trail. The problem is information overload. The solution is filtering out what doesn't matter. Beginners usually look right in front of the tire. That works until the trail changes and suddenly your brain has no time to respond. Looking farther ahead gives your body time to prepare naturally. The corrections become smaller and the ride becomes smoother. You will actually feel calmer moving faster because your brain already knows what is coming next. Then there are wet routes. Dry routes are unpredictable. Wet routes wake up every morning choosing violence. They look innocent, they shine a little, they sparkle, and then your tire touches one at the wrong angle and your wheel starts auditioning for an ice skating competition. The solution: cross them at the most direct angle you safely can. The straighter the crossing, the less opportunity the tire has to slide sideways. Routes love working together. 5 routes stacked together start acting like a neighborhood association where every bounce changes where the tire lands next. Stop thinking about individual routes and start thinking about rhythm. Every rise and drop becomes part of one smooth movement. The next challenge is the loose dirt hiding between routes. The route has grip, the dirt beside it does not. If the tire lands halfway between both surfaces, the traction changes instantly. You have to expect those changes before they happen rather than reacting after the fact. Half the battle happens inside your head. Confidence isn't pretending nothing can go wrong, it's trusting yourself to handle it when it does. There are plenty of trails where I stop first, not because I'm scared, but because I respect what is in front of me. Walking a difficult section is not losing. Pretending every obstacle is easy usually loses much faster. Social media makes everything look effortless. Nobody posts the 20 attempts before the perfect one, or the time they stood there wondering why the trail suddenly became impossible. Everybody has those moments. The riders who improve are simply the ones who keep coming back. My biggest breakthrough came when I stopped trying to beat the trail. The smoother I became, the easier everything felt. The less I wrestled with the wheel, the more capable it became. This carries over into life too. Sometimes pushing harder isn't the answer. Sometimes paying closer attention changes everything. At the end of the day, nobody remembers the easy dirt section. Everyone remembers the technical part they finally figured out. Every challenging trail teaches something the smooth ones never could. The routes didn't change, you did. One thing that helped more than anything was realizing that the trail is always giving little hints before it gives a big surprise. The dirt changes color. The shadows get darker. The trees get closer together. Even the way the trail bends can tell you something is waiting just around the corner. When I notice those little clues, my body is already getting ready before my tire ever reaches the rough section. That makes everything feel smoother because I am responding instead of reacting. Another mistake I see all the time is riders trying to stay perfectly straight. It sounds like that should be the goal, but it is not. Trails are messy. Routes are messy. Nature has never once looked at a ruler and said, that is exactly how I want this trail. Everything twists and curves. The wheel moves around underneath you, and that is completely normal. Trying to stop every little movement is like trying to stop a shopping cart from rattling across a parking lot. You end up wasting more energy fighting something that was never a real problem. The goal is not to eliminate movement. The goal is to stay comfortable while the movement happens. That mindset changes everything. There are days when the trail feels easy, and there are other days when the exact same trail feels twice as difficult. That does not always mean your riding got worse. Some days your timing is just off or your legs are tired. Some days your brain is thinking about work, bills, or something that happened before you even got to the trail. The wheel notices all of it. That is why I like easing into technical sections instead of trying to impress myself during the first 5 minutes. It is funny how confidence works. When people get nervous, they usually stop breathing normally. Without even realizing it, they start taking short little breaths. Now your whole body gets tighter and everything feels rushed. Something as simple as taking one slow breath before dropping into a difficult section can completely change how relaxed your body feels. The trail did not become easier. You simply gave yourself a better chance to handle it. I also remind myself that every obstacle does not deserve a dramatic reaction. Sometimes the wheel slips a tiny bit or it bounces a little harder than expected. That does not automatically mean you are about to crash. If every little wiggle sends your brain into panic mode, you end up creating a much bigger problem than the trail ever did. A small correction usually fixes a small mistake. A giant correction usually creates a giant mistake. One thing that always makes me laugh is watching somebody clean a difficult route section, then immediately stop and say they have no idea how they did it. That happens because good riding often feels boring. There is no big dramatic moment, everything just flows together. The best line usually looks almost effortless. It is like watching somebody skip rocks across a lake. From the shore it looks simple, but then you try it yourself and your rock dives straight to the bottom like it forgot how water works. Off-road riding is exactly like that. The smoother you become, the less exciting it looks to everyone else. But inside the helmet, you know exactly how many tiny decisions were happening every second. That is where the real satisfaction comes from. Not showing off, not proving anything, but just reaching the end of a section that used to make your palms sweat and realizing it finally feels natural. That moment is worth every practice session because it reminds you that progress rarely shows up all at once. It sneaks in one trail at a time until one day you realize the obstacle that once scared you has quietly become your favorite part of the ride. Thanks for watching.